Hello.
Hi,
Hey, is this Ryan?
this is he. Is this Suroor?
Yes, it is. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you doing?
Pretty good. It's like thunderstorming here right now.
Mhm.
So I'm just like cooped up in the house, hoping the power doesn't go out.
Oh man.
Yeah,
So just so you know, I'm recording this.
cool.
Um, it will be released in the print version on February 1st, and there's also an online version that I'll put send to you. And then later in that month, I'll put the audio up on our YouTube page.
Sounds awesome.
Oh, another thing is, feel free to just say whatever you want, wander wherever you want, change subjects. Doesn't matter to me.
Okay, cool.
So let's start easy. What is your name and where are you?
I'm Suroor and I'm in Memphis, Tennessee.
Is that where you were born?
No, I was actually born in Karachi in Pakistan. Yeah, and I grew up there till I was like till I was 18. And then I moved to Iowa for college. And so that's like when I first moved to the States.
Hmm.
And after I finished college, or well, not even after I finished college, because when I was in college during like COVID happened in the middle of that. So when that happened, I was in Chicago for a little, I was in Iowa City for a little, kind of just like bouncing around and like finding the best living situation. Um, and then I moved to Memphis in 2021, so about 3 years ago for grad school.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What was your childhood like?
My childhood was intense. It was like really good, in a lot of ways. Like I had a lot of like joy, I feel like I had a lot of great community, a lot of like amazing friendships and a lot of like fun. But it was also very stressful at times.
Mm-hmm.
um just in the sense that, it was like in Karachi, in Pakistan, so it was sometimes hard to just find stability in life, I guess. So it was really fun, but also like stressful. So it's kind of like really good and really bad at the same time.
Okay, how old were you when you started learning music?
Um, I would have to say like I was little. I was maybe like 7 or 8 or something. Um, I like picked up the guitar around that age, and I started like writing songs at that age. Um,
Hmm.
yeah.
What kind of songs?
Well, I mean, just little songs. I mean, I was a little baby. I don't even really remember most of them. But it was just kind of like doing little things with chords I learned, and I mean, some of them were like love songs for like little crushes I had.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were like I remember this one song very particularly. It was like about like monsters, and I remember it because my mom didn't like it, and that like broke my heart. And I feel like that's the only song I really like remember like specifically.
So it was the guitar in particular
I,
that you started with.
it was, yeah, guitar was the instrument that I started with. Yeah, yeah.
Were your parents musical at all?
Not in the sense that they were musicians. But my mom was a big like music lover.
Mm-hmm.
And she really like got me into a lot of music when I was a kid. She had like a really big like cassette collection, and yeah, like that's it's like one of my first memories really is just like her showing me like cassettes, and like we would like listen to music like on our way to school and like sing together in the car. And like that's like one of my first memories period, I guess. But definitely my first memory experiencing music as an art form. So, but she wasn't like a musician or a performer. Well, she was kind of a performer. She did like Charlie Chaplin drag and like stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, she's cool.
so, did you ever collaborate with anyone else when you were younger?
No, not really. Because, like, yeah, I mean, I just kind of like, I was really interested in music, and then I picked up the guitar and I would like write some songs here and there. But my interest in it kind of like fell pretty quickly because I never really connected with like singer-songwriter type music.
Yeah.
Um, and at the time, that was kind of all that I was exposed to. So it kind of like, I kind of stopped making music at a certain point. And then later on in life, when I was exposed to like electronic music and more like experimental um type stuff, then I just like fell back in love with it essentially. And then I started like writing more and collaborating more.
What sort of equipment did you start experimenting with?
Ableton. Just
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Like well, I guess like the main thing, the first like thing that I discovered that like made me go down a rabbit hole was like VCV rack and guitar rig. Yeah, like stuff like that where I was like, oh, like this is a whole universe of sound and I can like really just like make whatever I want to make, and there's a whole world to explore. Um and yeah, stuff like that.
And did you like how old were you when this was happening?
Maybe like 20.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. Like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. It's kind of when I was in college.
Where did you go to school?
Grinnell College. It's like this little liberal arts college in the middle of nowhere in Iowa.
What made you decide on that?
They just gave me the most money, really. Yeah, I was because I knew that because I was in Pakistan, right, and it's like expensive to go to school in America. Um, but I really wanted to like move. And I knew that I wanted to go to like a liberal arts college, partly because they give the most money as well. So I just like applied to like a bunch of liberal arts colleges, and like Grinnell gave me enough financial aid to the point where like I could sort of afford to go there. So I was like, fuck it, let's go. Yeah.
What did you study?
I was a English and philosophy double major.
Okay. What
Yeah.
is there anything that particularly interests you in philosophy?
Yeah, well, cause like I also do grad school in philosophy right now. Um, and I do a lot of work on just like sort of like historiography work, with like Western conceptions of biological sex.
Okay.
Yeah, and also related to like colonial impositions of like Western inventions of biological sex. So that's like what I really work on and like what my main interest is.
Interesting. So, have you recorded anything?
Have I recorded anything
Mm-hmm.
like musically?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I dropped an album um last year, and I dropped a single I think like a couple months ago. Um, so that's like the stuff that I have recorded that I also have published, and I have like some demos that I recorded recently that I'm planning on like fine tuning a bit more, and then I haven't made like release plans for it, but we'll see. I might like drop an EP of certain songs, or I might like save it for like a larger release because I really love albums. So I try to not drop EPs. Like I don't really like dropping EP. I know like it's very like popular to drop EPs these days, but I'm trying to not do that. So
What was your album called that you recorded?
it's called Lavender Showers.
And is there any particular focus behind it?
Like thematically or genre wise?
Both qualify.
Yeah. I genre wise it's very all over the place. Because it was my debut album, so I sort of wanted it to be a place where I can just like experiment and just like see what works and like what people are drawn to. So I mean like there are a lot of songs that's kind of like my general style of like industrial hyperpop music where it's like a hyperpop song but it has like some like industrial dark harsh elements to it. But then there's some songs that are very like shoegazy. There's some songs that are like digital hardcore. There's even like a song that's like Sufi style,
Yeah.
Qawwali style, which is like traditional Pakistani like folk music, I guess. Yeah. So it's a little bit all over the place,
Is that
genre wise.
Is that also made with electronic music?
It's a combination of electronic music and some guitar and some like Pakistani style percussion with like tabla drums and dhol drums, which are like particular types of like drums that are popular in Pakistan, but like I don't really see them much in America. But
Do you play tabla?
no, I like that one. A friend of mine sent a recording, but like I composed the tabla part, but I can't like play it. It's like it's like a thing. This is sort of like the case with everything, or like most things. I play the guitar pretty well, and I can play the synth, the keyboard, whatever, like sort of. But I can't play drums, and I can't play any of like Pakistani percussion. But like I write all of the parts, and I either like sometimes I'll write parts and then I'll find like samplers and like stuff and like sort of produce it electronically. With synths, obviously that happens pretty often. Or I like will compose a drum part and like ask someone else to play it and record them.
Okay. What do you write with?
What do I write with?
Yeah. Because you're saying you compose the part.
Yeah, so like I guess like in the context of drums, I just sort of like find a drum sample back, and I'll just have like generic like kicks and snares, and I'll sort of like I have what are they called, like why am I blanking on the name for this, like a sampler where you can push buttons, and so I'll kind of just like play around with that and write a part in my head, just like messing around like that. And then when I'll have a part, then I'll like tell my drummer Julia, and then she like plays it out.
How long have you been working together?
We have been working together since February of this year, so about 10 months. Yeah.
So are you working on anything now?
Yeah. Like I said, I have a couple songs that I just recorded like demos for. And yeah, so I wrote this like really long, like 11-minute song, and it's kind of like 4 songs in one song type shit. And that's the one that I'm kind of like thinking I might release it as an EP because it's kind of long and it feels like it might take up too much space in the context of an album. So I'm thinking I might release that in the near future as an EP, but I'm working on that song and I have a bunch of other just like ideas that I'm just like working through. I'm really in a space of like working on new music right now because it's like the winter, so it's a bit it's a bit like slow season for shows, so I'm not like touring as much. So I'm kind of like really trying to hone in on working on new stuff. And my process for that is really just a little chaotic in the sense that like my process is kind of like if I have an idea, I like work on that idea for a little bit, but then I'll start like looking for more ideas, and I'll kind of just like have a bunch of ideas, and eventually that sort of like molds itself into an album, and I'll kind of like recognize what's happening. And once I like recognize that, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of what we're gonna do, then I start to just like flesh all of them out. But right now I'm kind of in the idea creation stage, I guess.
And is that usually just you with the guitar?
Yeah, me with a guitar, me with like a synth, or yeah, just me with my like Ableton DAW, just like fucking around, or me just really, because like a lot of my like song ideas often just come like when I'm just like driving or like in the shower, and I just think of like a melody or like a chorus or something like that, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta write that down, like what can I do with this and stuff like that.
Got you.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything in particular you were hoping to be able to say that we haven't covered?
In the interview,
No.
anything in particular I was hoping to say? I guess I was hoping to talk about my experience like touring and performing. I don't know if we talked about that a lot.
No. Okay. Let's talk
Um,
about it.
yeah.
What? How much have you toured?
I only started touring pretty recently. I think my first, yeah, it's been nearly a year because my first tour that I did was January of this year. So the year is almost over.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nearly been about a year since I started touring. And first time I performed a live show just in general was May of last year. So it's been like nearly 2 years performing, nearly 1 year touring. So um yeah, it's been kind of new, but it's been kind of like a lot since it started.
Where
In the
have you
sense that yes, sorry, what?
Where have you been?
I've been kind of like all over, West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, the South. Um, I really like the South and the Midwest, honestly. So I think I've probably played the most there in those two regions.
Okay. And what have some of your experiences been like?
They've been really cool. Yeah, I love touring. I love experiencing all these different like DIY scenes everywhere. The Midwest I think goes really hard.
Like
I love
where in the
performing.
Midwest have you played that you felt was really good response?
Yeah, like, I love playing Chicago. Carbondale, Illinois is a place that a lot of people don't know about. But the scene in Carbondale was incredible. Where else? Lawrence, Kansas is another kind of like slept on place. The scene there is really cool.
Where did you
Um,
play in Lawrence?
Minneapolis. I love playing Minneapolis. That's like one of my favorite places ever. For a reason.
Where did you play in Lawrence?
In Lawrence, I play at the Replay Lounge.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, really cool spot with Mickey Mouse Slaughterhouse and June Henry, I think.
I just played there in November.
Oh, awesome! How'd it go?
It was great.
Yeah,
It's a nice little
it's a cool
space.
spot.
Seems like a really cool
Yeah,
town.
yeah, yeah. It's really cool. I spent like some time after the show just like hanging out there. It's really cool.
So, what what's really important to you? Like, what do you hold? What do you want to spend your life seeking knowledge about or doing something with? How's that for a question?
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, like community is really important to me, like music-based community. Um, because honestly, like ever since I moved to America, like it's been hard to find community. Like it's a lot easier to find it in Karachi and in like non-Western places, I guess. Like it's hard to find community in the West and just in general. But I feel like ever since I've like s- gotten into like DIY music and just like doing shows and stuff, that's been such a big source of community. And this has been like the first time where I've like felt like, oh, this is like legit community building here. And that like really inspires me. And it's probably like the most important aspect of just like music in general, or like the thing that I really want to like prioritize and try to build. So, yeah, and I have a a sort of like DIY label that I run in Memphis called Purgatory Pressings. Um, yeah, and we try hard to like build community through Purgatory. Like we do shows pretty often, and we've thrown a festival, and we do compilation albums every year. We just finished our second one. Um, yeah.
What motivated the name?
I don't know. I didn't come up with it. I run it with Window, another Memphis-based artist, and they're the one who came up with the name. Um, I think like from what I remember, it just came to them. I think this. I remember them telling me this story, and they were just like in bed, and it just came to them, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's it." And yeah, when they told me the idea, I was like, "Yeah, that sounds sick." But I think like there is an element of like an element of liminality that's conveyed with the idea of like purgatory that I think attracts both of us in the sense of like it evokes like a sense of transformation and a sense of like pushing things into like a forward direction.
Okay.
So I think sort of like retrospectively after they came up with that name, that's part of why like I was like gravitated to it. And the logo of it also like Ash Birch from Seattle designed the logo, and we didn't really tell him any we didn't really give him any like input. He just like made a bunch of like doodles and it was like, which one are y'all drawn to? And it was just kind of like a drawing of a house, a kind of like interesting looking house with like a cloud coming out of it, and the cloud had like eyes, and it was very like alluring. And I think there was a sense of like, like what's going on in this house? Like it looks cool. Let's like go into it type shit. So I think that's the general sort of creative energy behind the collective.
Is everyone in the collective from Memphis?
Yeah. And I guess in a sense, I mean it's very much like concentrated in Memphis, but we there are artists that like we work with, and there are artists that we have like planned tours for or planned tours with. So it's definitely like Memphis focused, but it's kind of like the network extends beyond Memphis for sure.
Okay. Is there anything that you would like to promote?
Um, yeah, well, my debut album, Lavender Showers, it's out on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere. Um, and I might be dropping new music soon, who knows? But I guess like my Instagram is the best way to keep up with that sort of stuff. It's Suroor.901, Suroor.901. And when I do have release plans, I'll promote it there. And show wise, I'm doing a little weekender next month with a really cool band called Ultra from Little Rock. We're gonna play January 17th in Memphis at Lamplighter, and January 18th in Little Rock at Pino's. And it's kind of a warm up for a bigger tour that we're doing in March, which is going to be in the Midwest because, like I said, I love the Midwest. So in Midwest, I'm going to be doing in March. Sorry, I'm going to be doing another Midwest tour.
You say it was going to be called the Bitter Tour?
Sorry, what?
Did you say it was a winter tour?
No, it was in March. It's a Midwest tour in March.
Okay, I thought you said something else. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, any final thoughts you'd like to share with the people?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, keep rocking out. Keep it real.
Thank you for agreeing to the interview.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. It was really fun.
Yeah. If you could send me some pictures of you performing, that would be excellent. Yeah. And
fair.
I'll get back with you as soon as possible about, editing and stuff like that.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, great. You have a great night.
You too. See ya.
Bye-bye.